This is a toy spot on the Walmart exclusive Marvel Legends Cannonball and Domino 2-pack. For anyone growing up in the 90s, growing up really a fan of X-Force, this was a great set to pick up, featuring two characters who, as far as I know, have yet to be made into Marvel Legends up to this point. Set, of course, features both Cannonball and Domino, respectively. Package consists of a nice picture of Cannonball and Domino on the side, the Marvel Legends logo, the Hasbro Marvel Legends logo. On the back of the package, the read-up on the two characters says, erstwhile teammates and mutual friends of the mutant freedom fighter Cable, Domino and Cannonball are just two of the unique crew of mutants Nathan Summers has gathered around himself since the arrival in our timeline. Domino, genetically engineered and trained from birth to be the ultimate fighter, locally warps probability in her favor, making her an ideal partner in a firefight. Every shot Domino fires is a lucky shot. Cannonball is a living explosion, able to absorb, generate, and redirect explosive kinetic force. This allows him to fly, renders him nearly invulnerable to physical attack, and grants him the ability to direct punishing, concussive attacks against his foes. Cable also suspects he's a rare immortal mutant and hopes to awaken that potential. And respectively, Cannonball is 6 feet, 181 pounds, real name Sam Guthrie, identity public, alias Samson Guthrie, affiliation X-Men, powers generate directed explosive force and force field. Meanwhile, Domino, height 5'8", weight 120 pounds, real name Nina Thurman. I doubt she's related to Uma Thurman. Identity secret, alias Beatrice, affiliation 6-pack, powers probability control, highly trained fighter. Visit us online for cool games, insider toy news, and much more. Hasbro.com/Marvel. So that's packaging on the two figures. What we'll do is we'll get this opened up, and we will have a look at both Cannonball and Domino. So stay tuned, guys. There's so much more to come. Well, I can tell you, these two figures, bit of a disappointment, I'm afraid. Not really a good way to already start this review. What we'll do probably first is look at, well, you know what, we'll put down Domino, because I'm sure I'm going to have some bad things to say about it, unfortunately. But first, we're going to look here at Cannonball. Well, the first thing I can start by saying is, of all the figures that I've reviewed, Cannonball here is one of those figures that has caught me off guard the most with the way that the figure is when I got him out of the package. I looked at the figure, and when I took him out of the package, as soon as I picked him up, I'm like, whoa, something seems off on him. It's really, really strange. They've actually, his upper torso here, right above where the mid-torso articulation is, they've actually put a rubberized piece. It continues all the way around, and even on the back here, as you can see, this rubbery piece also goes right up to his collar. It's neat because the collar, there's a bit of flexibility to it, but completely, I was not expecting it at all when I took it out of the package. Again, as soon as I grabbed it, I'm like, wow, there's actually some additional pieces that they put on the figure. That I kind of like. It surprised me, but I do like that. The head sculpt is good. I'll keep going so far in this review with the pros. The head sculpt is good. It's a solid sculpt on Cannonball. One thing I would have been nice, it's not as much as a gripe as it is just a way that the figure could have been improved on. One thing would have been nice is if these goggles wore a separate piece, a piece that would have come with the figure that you could have actually had put on his head. And then it would have been nice that if you had maybe had this rubbery piece, it would have been like that same rubber. And you could either have the goggles on his eyes, or you can have them above on top of his head like they have it here. They didn't do that. They just have molded it as just one solid piece with the head. It's not a big gripe. It's again just something that I would have done, as I would have had these goggles separate. The figure out of his package is loose in a lot of areas. The mid-torso here is extremely loose, and I'm not gonna say that that's one problem with the figure, because it could very well just be my figure. But he is very loose here. The boot is also extremely loose. This one isn't bad, but this one is loose. Really loose, in fact. The coloring is nice. I like the coloring on Cannonball here. In the way of his articulation, he has a ball-jointed head. He has ball-jointed shoulders. You can rotate at the bicep. He has 2 points of articulation in the elbows. You can also rotate his forearms at the glove. The hands can also bend. You can also bend his fingers. All 4 fingers are 1 point, and you can bend all 4 fingers at once. They've molded the hands in such a way, the fingers in such a way, that closing his hand doesn't look awkward, and in fact it still makes the figure look like he's got a clenched fist. It doesn't look like it's just a flat hand, which they've done in the past with some Marvel Legends, and it just has not worked. He has the mid-torso articulation. You can rotate at the waist. He's got the ball-jointed legs. You can rotate the knees. You can bend 2 points in the knee. As mentioned, you can rotate the boot at the calf. You can swivel the leg, bend it up and down. Also, you can bend the toe. Other things that I would have improved on with the figure if I had had an opportunity to design it, would have been nice that they could have given him a fiery lower torso. If you're a fan of Cannonball and then reading the X-Force comics, you're quite familiar with the fact that he has a fiery base. In fact, most of the time when you see him in the comics, at least the older comics, he's in flight. It would have been nice if they had actually included some sort of fiery base. Now, I don't know whether it would have just been something that you could have slid the legs of the figure into, and maybe it was rubbery or something like that, or you could have separated the torso, which I don't like removing limbs because it always means that they're loosely connected. But something where you would have had a fiery base, because I think that's a missed opportunity for someone, especially like Cannonball. Because I don't know about you, but when I think Cannonball, I automatically think of that fiery base, or that fiery bottom half. So the figure is good. It's not great, but it's good. And as a Cannonball figure, it does things really well. Bit loose, unfortunately, and missed opportunity with the fiery base, but still a figure I would probably give a 5.52. It's definitely the better of the two. We'll put him aside, and the figure I really wanted to be the better of the two, unfortunately ends up being the worst. What we're going to do is, there he goes. What we're going to do is look at Domino. I don't really know where to start on this one. Well, actually, yes, I do. I know exactly where to start on this one. I've always been a fan of Domino. Always a fan of Domino. And never having got a Domino figure in Marvel Legends, the fact that they finally released this in a 2-pack, I was excited to pick her up. And really disappointed. Really disappointed. One thing I don't like is the fact that the way they posed her in the package, if you go back and watch the beginning end of my review, you'll see that she was sitting in the package with her leg bent. Well, it's going to take a little, I'm going to have to heat the joint, I think, to actually correct this, but her leg is so bent. As you can see, it's actually bending back as we speak. I mean, that's not a figure problem. It's not a figure problem, but the head sculpt isn't bad, but I think it could have been better. It definitely could have been better. I think the hair, I think, is really what is a hit or miss to this figure, and in this case, it's a bit of a miss. The way they've sculpted the hair, she's got a bit of a 5 head going on there, and I think really had they just sculpted the hair a bit more over and maybe lowered the hair, the figure would have looked a little bit better than what it does. It's not a terrible figure, but it's definitely not as good as I think it could have been. Now she's sporting 2 pistols here, which you can see are elastic into her hands. If you take I'll take one out just to show you guys here. Nicely detailed, obviously, except for the fact that you can see the elastic bands, which I'll take off when I get her posed. But you can actually take the pistols and you can put them in her side leg holsters, which I like. In the way of her articulation, she has the articulation in the head. She has the ball-jointed shoulders. You can rotate the biceps. You can bend the elbows at 2 points. You can also rotate the hand. Much like Cannonball, very loose in her. Well, actually, you know what? I shouldn't say that. Not loose in her mid-torso articulation, but she's got this weird ball joint that's right underneath her boobs, right underneath them. It's strange that they actually put that in there. I haven't collected many of the Hasbro Marvel Legend figures, but I haven't seen many female Marvel Legends that have that articulation. I mean, really, they could have left that completely out and just relied solely on the mid-torso articulation. It just feels loose. It just feels a bit loose. She has... It doesn't look like she has any waist articulation. She's got the standard ball-jointed leg. You can rotate also at the thigh. You can bend the knees at 2 points. The feet can swivel back and forth. You can also bend them back, front and back. And you can also bend the toe. Really, for how small her feet are, they could have left that toe articulation right out. I don't think we would have missed it at all. I might be a little harder on this figure than maybe what I should be. It's just a problem that the way she's positioned, she's extremely loose in some areas. I don't like this at all. They could have just left that right out. And the fact that the leg's bent, I think right off the bat kind of soured this figure for me. This is a good example, at least in my opinion, of a figure that could have been done better as a Toy Biz Marvel Legend. It's unfortunate that we got her as a Hasbro Marvel Legend, but this figure I'm going to give... I like Domino, but I'm going to give her a 4. She could have been better. I think that's the best way to sum it up. She could have been better, and had she been a Toy Biz Marvel Legend, I think she would have been better. Is it worth picking up the set? I'll bring Cannonball back. Is it worth picking up the set? If you are a completionist and you want to get the members of X-Force, I would say yes. But by Toy Biz standards, these figures aren't as good as they could be, especially the Domino. But anyways, that was a Toy Spot. Today we're looking at the Walmart exclusive Marvel Legends 2-pack featuring both Cannonball, not bad of a figure, and Domino. Bit disappointing, could have been better, but still I guess a figure that's worth picking up to fill out a team. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for many more Marvel Legends spots to come, and I'll see you guys next time. Later, guys.